Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. This weather video is driven by 802cars.com, representing 802 Toyota, Twin City Subaru, and 802 Honda. They're all located off of Exit 7 on Interstate 89. Quite the day today. We have just about clear skies, almost coast to coast. A little bit of cloud cover in the western part of the U.S. near the Pacific coast, but really much of the country is clear with this big broad ridge of higher pressure. It's shunting all storm systems to the north of us. This is going to be pushing up and eventually, due to a trough of low pressure, building off to the west of us, and it's going to change the flow eventually, and the flow is going to come out of the northwest. This is going to deliver some packages of colder air from time to time. The best chance for this, though, looks to be somewhere along around the 20th of November, so quite a ways down the road apiece. Yeah, looking at the total amount of snow depth, you can see a little bit in the very northeast kingdom of Vermont, northern Coos County of New Hampshire, back up in the Connecticut Lakes region, and then not a lot of snow across southern parts of Canada. It's just been blazing warm, and notice even in the Rockies, pretty pathetic here. This continues across the west, the High Sierra, and we're talking, above 10, 12, 13,000, 14, vicinity of 14,000 feet, Mount Whitney right here. Not a lot of snow on the ground. Just kind of taking a look at that. On this November the 12th, we have a small snowpack here, really from the Yosemite area, roughly to the south on the highest elevations. In the Rockies, Taos area, seeing some snow that's probably near or maybe even a little bit above normal, but parts of the Rockies really not showing a whole lot in the way of snow. Snow depths very high up. This is west of Denver. And then looking a little bit to the north through parts of the areas, Steamboat, and back up in the northern areas here, the Uintas, the Wasatch, starting to show just a little bit of snow here. Get further north, a little better action. Bighorn Mountains and some of the Wyoming, northwestern corner of Wyoming here, the Grand Tetons and the Absarokas, and then back into Montana, not showing too much, fairly limited. A little bit more in the Sun Valley areas around Idaho, and then really you have to go pretty far to the north to find anything of any decent amount in the Cascades, Mount Hood, Mount St. Helens. This would be Mount Hood here. Pretty limited for the Cascades. They've had an inundation of rainfall coming off the Pacific Northwest. And then up in the areas around the coastal mountains of British Columbia, always good for some good snow here. And then you get that second area east of the Okanagan Valley, and you can see west of Calgary some snow. And that's more or less typical as to what we're seeing there. All right, let's zoom on out and take a look at a little more of the east. Interestingly, there is some snow. And this is mostly up in the Connecticut Lakes region, so a little bit of snow for tracking in the far northeast kingdom of Essex County, some areas in some of the highlands there. So a little bit of snow there, and turning that further to the north, you can see Jay Peak country has a little bit of snow, not much to the south of that. So looking at temperatures and temperature anomalies, let's start with temperatures first. And this is some fairly cold air, what it would look like, but this is well above normal. The colder anomalies right now, and this is colder than normal temperatures, is back over toward, of course, eastern Eurasia, Siberia. But if you look at temperature anomalies here, you can see the Arctic is anywhere from 8 or 9 degrees to as much as 27 degrees above normal. That's in Fahrenheit. And a little bit of a cooler scenario here in the northern Canadian archipelago, west of the Davis Strait. A little bit of colder air that might make it here from time to time. And the flow is generally going to be sort of releasing, I think, out of a north or northwest here in probably after about a week or so, starting to see signs of colder air mass in the modeling. But it is just on fire. The other thing to look at is sea surface temperatures, and this is kind of lays out the pattern here. This is the Gulf Stream. The colder waters here below 50 degrees in the purples. And also take a look at Lake Superior. This will have ramifications with lake effect snows, fairly warm water here, and look at temperature anomalies, sea surface temperature anomalies, as well as the Great Lakes. Everything's above normal, going up. Off the coast, above normal, off the west coast, above normal, except the Pacific Decadal Oscillation. And the positive phase is fairly typical right now with a colder shot of water. And also, if you look at El Nino, let's get back around. Here we go. We got, excuse me, a La Nina, and this is in a sort of weak version right now. This is the Pacific Decadal Oscillation with the typical horseshoe of warmer water and so forth. The other thing that's interesting is precipitable water and just how dry the continents are right now. As you get into North America, right here, you can just see, once we get a flow off the ocean, it is just pathetically dry and real super dry. So anytime we get a flow out of the north, we're not going to see a whole lot in the way of moisture. And that's why these little tail end cold fronts, they produce a little bit of snow, but there's just no moisture to work with. Okay, you remember back on the 27th of October, we had a little bit of snow here, wet snow loading in the Connecticut River Valley, caused quite a few power outages, for example. Taking it day by day, I kind of see the 28th, there's the 29th, snow melted out, and you can see the snow retreat up into mainly northern Canada. That's the 1st of November. Here's the 2nd of November. And we'll take this all the way through the 12th. So what you can see here is some pretty decent snowfall, or snow extent anyway, across Siberia, Eurasia, from Sweden, Finland, and so forth, east. This is pretty solid. This is actually more than normal. It's also more than normal up into parts of Alaska, into the northern parts of Canada. You drew a line, southern parts of Canada, and into the rest of the lower 48 United States. It's below normal by a considerable amount. And we're waiting to fill this in with snow cover, and that's going to be the deal here. Looking at departures from normal, kind of does explain. You can see these reds where it's below normal here and above normal in Asia. And most of the action has really been in the Pacific, back west into Asia. That's where the main storm tracks are. And what we've been seeing here is a very strong flow. The Gulf of Alaska has been very intense, and it's been producing quite a bit of warmer air across North America. And that's the reason why we see anomalous below normal snowfall amounts here. So what we're looking at here is the European weeklies, and you can see the anomalous in the red, in the blues, that's below normal temperatures. So something moves in on the west coast of California. This is week by week. It's still much warmer than normal here. And as we continue to advance this, this is the 12th of December. We're still running a little bit above normal. Now, by that point in time, that's going to favor more snowfall at this point. So even though we're looking at above normal temperatures, the overall trends are that temperatures will be cold enough for snow. But just seeing this and going out as far as is really well into the end of December. This is the 22nd of December. What I'd like to see is a little cooler than normal trend here with a trough of lower pressure bringing colder air, and then starting to see this take place. But the European model saying niet. Okay, the green is above normal and the brown is below normal. So this is the weeklies here. You can see a little chance of something right there. This is in a couple weeks. This is valid on the 24th of November. So the vicinity of Thanksgiving or just ahead of it, we might actually see a tiny bit, a little bit better chance of some snow cover here. But I think it's mainly going to be Great Lakes effect. And we do get into a little bit above normal here. This is the 8th of December. Then it goes away. Equal chances and so forth. Looks like things do improve in the west. This is 10 days total. This would be valid on the 22nd of November. It looks like Monday evening. You can see a little bit of a pickup in the Rockies, not much, mostly northern Rockies. A little better chance of seeing some minutiae amounts of snow here. This is where the temperatures are well above normal. And then there is one weather system that will produce a swath of snow, but it heads into basically central and northern Quebec. For Vermont, 10 days out, we're not looking at a whole lot here. And again, this is the 22nd of November, just ahead of Thanksgiving. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights.